welcome back to my channel. So I am very deep into the preparations for the contest for MomoCon, just doing some sprucing up on my Ravenna, and a lot of that is beading, which, as you all know if you've been watching me for a while, I find beading to be incredibly boring and incredibly boring to share. So at the moment I will not be sharing much with my update on what I'm doing for Ravenna. I may share it as a short because that will make it more interesting than me talking about it here. So I thought that I could share with you some of my resources that I reference often for my cosplays and costuming builds. I know when I first started, because I'm completely self-taught, that one of the biggest things that I struggled with was what words do I need to search for to find the thing that I'm looking for. For instance, I wouldn't know what a couch stitch was, or if I wanted to find a certain type of bead, I didn't know what a bugle bead was, or I didn't know, the term for a fell stitch or anything like that. So I still to this day sometimes struggle with that, and it can take me a really long time to find the exact words that I'm looking for. However, I have acquired a nice collection of books that I utilize as my first resort for looking for anything I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a particular stitch, if I'm looking for advice on fitting a garment, if I'm looking for a particular type of bead, I will hit these books first, because first of all, Google is broken. This day and age, I used to be able to go to Google and eventually find what I'm looking for, but Google is absolutely broken. And now when I search for things, it often leads me in circles and doesn't give me the answer I'm looking for. I wanted to share with you some of the options that I have here that really helped me step up my costuming game and gave me the language and a lot of knowledge for anything that I really wanted to create, particularly around embellishing. So as always, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to subscribe for more content from me. And with that, let's go ahead and hop on into it. So the very first book that I'm going to start with is something that I actually just recently got. I haven't gotten to use it too much so far, but the information in this book is incredibly valuable, especially if you are self-taught. So this is called Dressmaking the Easy Guide by Helen Rhiannon. So in this book, you will find a lot of techniques for patterns, as well as altering your patterns and correcting fit issues. And the instructions are incredibly easy to understand. You don't have to know a lot of the pattern knowledge to really know what's going on in here. There's nice descriptions of everything, and there's some very easy projects to get started. So if you're just getting started with sewing, this is a great place to start. I got this at Joann's during their closing sale, so if they still have any left, you can get it for a bit of a discount. Next will be reference books. So I'm only going to show you one of these. I have quite a few, but this is one of my favorites. This is 18th Century Fashion Detail by Susan North. So I sometimes struggle whenever I'm trying to think of how I want to embellish a costume to just take it to that next level. And I like to look for images throughout history to get inspiration. In this book, there's plenty of pictures with up-close details, including diagrams of how a garment was constructed, which really helps me when I'm trying to design something and get a 360 view of a historical garment. It has it in here. It doesn't have it in here for everything, but it does have some for reference, which I really enjoy. But look at this up-close detail. It's really hard to find stuff like that online. You can go through and see, for instance, it has a picture of the front of this dress, and then it has a sketch of what the back looks like, and then up close of this ruching detail. I just really, really love this book. It's super valuable for understanding historical costuming and can give you some great ideas of patterns and techniques that you could use in your next costume. So I highly recommend this book. Next up, I'm going to mention a very well-loved book of mine. This is The Victorian Dressmaker by Isabella Pitcher from Prior Attire. Prior Attire, I believe, also sells historical patterns, but in this book, it details out how to make certain garments from the Victorian era. So I've got quite a few things bookmarked in here, including a fit guide. This tells you how to make a mock-up with a historic garment in mind and how to adjust the fit for your body type. There's corsetry in here. There's petticoats, a crinolet, which I did make. Horribly ugly contraption, but I thought it was unique and decided to make it. And there's grids and guides on how to draft your own pattern. There's the crinolet. It's really ugly, but I thought it would be fun to make. There's lots of beautiful options in here. So if you are looking to make anything from the Victorian era, I think this is a perfect resource to build a costume from corset to finished garment. I will admit the instructions can be incredibly confusing. So on the pieces that I made from this book, I have made tutorial videos to walk through how I understood them to be. She's just not as clear to someone like me that just doesn't have all of the sewing knowledge, and it took a lot of trial and error to understand. So I would say this is an intermediate level book. It can be very useful, especially if you really need to break down how something is constructed and see the individual pieces. I really wish that she would just include more steps. You know, that's probably what she's missing the most. Next is this book I got for Christmas, actually. This is Fabric Manipulation by Ruth Singer. This is one of my all-time favorite books. If you're looking for fun trims, historical trims, this is the book for you. This shows you how to make fun trims, pleating, any sort of fabric manipulation you can think of, which is an excellent skill to add if you're going to go into cosplay competitions. But this book has all sorts of different trims in it, different ways of making fabric textures, and I particularly wanted this book because of my Sakizo build. There is smocking in the front of that design, and this has a lot of smocking techniques in it. You can actually see some on the back cover. And I didn't have the words for looking that up. I had no idea what to call that. Turns out it's flower smocking. And I actually don't remember if it's in this book at all, but that is the main reason why I wanted this one, because I thought it would be in there. But there's a lot of other techniques can be useful for whatever you decide to make, especially if you're going to make a historical costume. Next, I do want to do a shout out to Kamui Cosplay, which you probably know who she is. She's a very famous cosplayer, and she's very well known for her tutorial videos as well as her book. So this is the only physical book I have from her. I have purchased a few of her digital copies, but this is the Advanced Cosplay Lights book. I have not had a chance to actually use this because the plans I purchased it for back in 2020 fell through, as I'm sure you can understand why, and I have not gone back to them, and I still just haven't really used lighting in my costumes. But this book is incredibly detailed. Oh, I actually never realized that she had signed the cover. That's super cool. Aw, I like that. But this has great encouraging instructions, tells you step by step how to do this, and even gives you the coding that you need so that you can program the lights however you want. Her books are incredibly detailed, very helpful, especially if you're just getting started out or you need to learn a very specific technique such as cosplay lighting. Now, I will say that she is very heavy in foam smithing. She's great at sewing as well, but she does a lot of foam smithing. So you may not be able to find exactly what you're looking for, but I do think her books are an excellent option to peruse through. She also sells patterns. Next, I'm going to do another book that I picked up at Joann's in the past few months that has been incredibly helpful and helped me discover a new resource. So this is the 200 Essential Embroidery Stitches by the Royal School of Needlework. This school is actually based in Hampton Court, which is my favorite palace to visit whenever I'm in the UK. But they actually publish a bunch of different needlework books. I think they have over 20 or so. I happened to find this one at Joann's, got it on 20% discount before everything was cheaper, but this book is an incredible resource if you're planning to add any sort of hand embroidery to your costuming, or you just want to learn certain techniques. There's even buttonhole stitches in here, so if you're going to be doing lacing or buttons and you want to hand stitch the thread around that to secure it, there's multiple of those in here. It also has finishing stitches, trim stitches in here. But what I really like about this book, the book is color coordinated. What is the word for it? It's organized using colors to help you find what you're looking for. The edging on the pages, which I hope it shows through, is a rainbow of color. And if you go to the inside on how to use this book, there's a key here that says like blue is basic stitches. This each color is outline and border stitches, the different categories. So if you know what you're looking for, you pop over here and I can say I want an edge stitch, which is light yellow. I can just pop over and find the chapter on edge stitches, and then it has a key at the top showing a little graphic of what the stitches this section contains. And I do really like that it includes historical references on a lot of these, and it gives you pretty detailed information on how to complete the stitch, such as this one, which is buttonhole edging. So I have been using this a lot with Saki's Own Ravenna. This book was incredibly helpful, and I decided to look up the Royal School of Needlework, found out they had a bunch of different books that they have published, and then found exactly what I was looking for my costumes, which is this bead embroidery book. This is so incredibly helpful if you're going to do beadwork. Not only does it give you a bunch of different stitches you can use with your beading and a bunch of different manipulations on stitch. For instance, I'm going to be using this cross stitch, which is a very simple, well-known stitch, but there's 8 different ways of manipulating the stitch with beads to get different patterns and textures, and I personally probably would have never thought about them on my own. So this is incredibly helpful. It gives you some examples of what you can do with beadwork. It has examples throughout history, and it has examples of how to set things up, like if you're going to use a loom. So this book is a great guide. It will tell you what the beads are called that they're using in their stitching, which I find incredibly helpful, because if I see something, I'm like, I want to make that exact thing, or I really like the way this bead looks, what's it called? It's really hard to Google that when you don't have the words, but I can just pop over to that book and find it, or this other one that I really like, which is the A through Z of Bead Embroidery by Search Press. This one is another one I use quite a bit. I used it for Jekyll and Hyde. I'm also using this one for Ravenna, particularly for some of these beaded fringes, which I really like to incorporate. This one is even better if you're trying to figure out what the beads are called, because to do like this stitch up here, it tells you exactly what beads you need and what size of beads. It tells you the other supplies you need and the order of work, and it gives you pictures and step-by-step instructions on how to complete that. And on top of it, in the very back, it gives you line patterns that you can trace onto your fabric and follow, so that you can recreate the designs that are within this book. So I actually really, really love this one. There's a bunch of things bookmarked in here that I have used or plan to use in the future, but it's a great resource. That's what I have for you today. Those are some of my favorite books. I have more, but these are my most used books. I hope you found it helpful, or will find it helpful in the future. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them down in the comment section below. I try to be responsive, but I've been so wrapped up in MomoCon that it may take me a few days to get back to you, but I will try my best. And if you are going to MomoCon, make sure if you see me to say hi. I will be dressed as Barbie on Friday, and then Ravenna on Saturday. The Saturday will probably be wrapped up with the contest most of the day, so I don't expect to get much done there. And then I'll be in street clothes on Thursday and Sunday, just to give myself some time to just enjoy the convention. And of course, I'll be hosting a Warble workshop. It did sell out, so unfortunately there aren't any tickets available. If you were able to snag one, let me know down in the comments below. And with that, as always, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more content from me, and I will see you in my next video.